Greenberg's live global travel update is presented to you by Colette. Discover the world. Guided travel since 1918.
Hello, everybody. Peter Greenberg here on this last Wednesday of April 2026, sending you greetings from Copacabana Beach and the Fairmont right here on the beginning of Copacabana Beach right here in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. No, I'm not on the beach. I'm not sunning myself. I'm actually here reporting on a couple of stories and, of course, talking with you for our global travel update. So let's get into the news. And, of course, it's all about airlines, failures, mergers, fuel, costs, and routes. We got a lot to talk about. Let's debunk a couple of myths first. Last week we talked about United Airlines floating the idea, which came over like a lead balloon, of buying American Airlines. You know that's not going to happen. They have so many overlapping routes. It raises so many anti-competitive and restraint trade issues that even the Trump administration, with its anti-regulatory stance, would have trouble ignoring that. That ain't going to happen. That will not, all pun intended, fly. Won't happen. However, that's not stopping United from looking at JetBlue, an airline that's also had financial difficulties. You may remember they were flirting with a possible bankruptcy filing, a Chapter 11 filing about 10 days to 2 weeks ago. They avoided that by pledging 20 of their jets as collateral to secure a $500 million loan to allow them to keep flying through the rest of 2026. Some people might think that's just kicking the can down the road. We'll have to see. But JetBlue, for the moment, is not filing for Chapter 11. Spirit, on the other hand, is still in Chapter 11, their second one of the year, and unable to emerge, unable to maybe even operate. They weren't flirting with a Chapter 11 filing. They were flirting with a liquidation. And considering the fact that their creditors didn't want to advance them any more money since fuel costs went up, which triggered the problem for everybody, they went begging to the Trump administration for a bailout. The Trump administration felt, you know what, we might consider that for reasons that are still confusing to me. But they said they would entertain it. They're still entertaining it. And as I said last week on a number of broadcasts, I was right. What's going to stop at that point from other airlines lining up and saying, well, if you're going to bail them out, why don't you bail us out? That's what's happening right now. Frontier, Allegiant, and Avelo all lining up asking for a $2.5 billion bailout. Nothing's been decided yet. Spirit is still flying. We will see how long that continues, but we are expecting a decision sometime this week. There's a hearing with the creditors for Spirit tomorrow, so we'll be watching that very carefully. If you're holding a ticket on Spirit, here's an interesting story. There was a time 30 and 40 years ago, there was a sort of gentleman's agreement with airlines that if one airline had a labor issue and ceased to operate, or actually ceased to operate entirely, that the other airlines would honor their tickets. There is no such agreement in place today, even though the CEO of American, in an internal meeting with his staff, said that if Spirit folded, they would help Spirit passengers out with their tickets. We have no idea what that means or how much it might cost them for an additional fare difference, but at least one airline CEO said they'd help out. I'll believe that when I see it, or if it happens at all. Again, we'll be monitoring this tomorrow for that hearing. I'll let you know about it. Speaking of American, United may not be buying American. United may be buying JetBlue. That was on the cards a long time ago. Remember, United made a boneheaded decision a couple of years ago to pull out all of their operations from JFK and move to Newark. Okay, that didn't quite work out because they lost their positioning at JFK, their connectivity at JFK, and their transcon traffic. Well, they wanted to get back into JFK. Guess what? They can't. All those slots are taken by the dominant carrier at JFK. Guess who that is? JetBlue. But now United's trying to get back in. They've reached at least an initial agreement with JetBlue. This happened a couple of months ago, where JetBlue's giving them some of their landing slots at JFK, about 5. So starting a little bit later this year, you may see United having a couple of transcon flights to San Francisco and LA from JFK, and that's going to be the start. Already, you can get JetBlue points if you fly United. You get United miles if you fly JetBlue. So that partnership is beginning to develop. However, big problem, and that's called fuel. Fuel prices since February 28th, the day we attacked Iran, have gone up 70%. That's unsustainable. And JetBlue, which already had a debt load of $8 billion, by the way, let me put that in other real math terms. That means they were spending $600 million a year in interest just on that debt. That fuel increase has increased that debt load to $9 billion. Who wants to merge with an airline and assume that debt? Not many people. So jury's out on that one too. But then there's the American idea of doing something with Alaska Airlines. They already have a partnership with them on a number of areas. They're code sharing as well. It may make sense to do that. So the mergers and acquisitions game is far from over. And of course, we'll have to see what happens with Spirit. What is that doing to airfares? A lot. An international airfare ticket averaged back in February about $733. Today, it's averaging $1,037. That's a huge increase of 37%. And it shows no signs of going lower. It only shows signs of going higher. So if you're planning a summer vacation or even a trip next week, it's in your best interest, as oil prices are showing no sign of going down, of buying that ticket now and try to do it on a U.S. carrier. I'll tell you why. Because if, in fact, by the time you're ready to fly, those ticket prices are substantially down, that means you can then cancel that flight, get a credit for the full amount, and then reapply that credit immediately to the lower fare price on the same flight and get a residual credit that you get a chance to use then for something else. That's how you hedge the bets. But you learn and earn nothing if you wait to buy your tickets. The history there is pretty clear. So please don't do that. All right. That's what's going on with American, with United, with Spirit, with Allegiant, with Frontier, with Avelo. And we'll be monitoring, of course, that hearing tomorrow with the creditors with Spirit. Okay, moving along. We've talked about this before. Whenever it happens, it repeats itself. I go back to 2015 when a British Airways 777 was flying from Las Vegas to London, fully loaded plane. And as it went down the runway, the left engine basically caught fire. At precisely the moment that the captain had to make a decision, he was at V1 as to whether or not to take off or abort. He chose to abort with a fully loaded plane. Risky, but he did it. He was able to get the plane to a stop. The fire was raging. Half the exits were blocked. They had to evacuate the plane. Now, you may notice this. If you don't know the actual numbers, I'll tell you. Each year, the airlines have to comply with an FAA rule that says they can evacuate a fully loaded plane with half the exits blocked in the dark in less than 90 seconds. What drug are they taking? They all passed the tests. In the old days, the airlines passed the test because they got to pick who did the test. They didn't, there was no great cross-section for infirmity, disability, mobility issues, age, or downright fear. They picked the cast from Cirque du Soleil. And guess what? They all evacuated within 90 seconds. Well, that's not realistic. And what's even worse is the airlines now have been given a waiver by the FAA to conduct those tests on computer. That's delusional. You need real world scenarios. Well, the real world scenario happened in 2015 on the British Airways flight. How long did that evacuation take? Are you ready? 11 minutes. How people weren't killed on that one, I'll never know, because what compounded the problem is so many of them left with all their carry-on bags with them. I mean, this is not what you want to do. And the same thing just happened this week, right? A couple of days ago on Swiss Air Flight 147 from Delhi to Zurich. It was an Airbus 330. And as he came down the runway on takeoff, the left engine there was a bang. There was fire and smoke. The cockpit responded fast enough to be able to abort the takeoff. I mean, the brakes were molten hot. They were worried about fire. The fire crews got out there and hosed it down with foam and prevented the fire. But the captain quite rightly ordered an evacuation. They deployed the slides. And guess what? Same thing happened again. People were leaving with their carry-on bags. Folks, there are solutions here, but they're not good solutions. The airlines could put in a locking system that automatically locks the overhead compartments. You know what that means? Even a delayed evacuation as people try to open the compartments so they can't get in. No, it's called common sense. Get off the plane. You don't leave with anything. And people just don't learn their lessons. Or it's even worse, they pull out their phones and decide to do selfies in the middle of the evacuation. Are you nuts? Anyway, I'm just reminding everybody, we're all flyers, we're all passengers. In the event you hear evacuate, find the nearest exit, take your shoes off if you can, and get down that slide. And that's all you can do. Leave everything else on board. All right, moving along with that. Now, this one defies logic. It defies common sense, but it gives you an idea. I talk about airfares going up. It gives you an idea of where we are when it comes to bag fees. The airlines, as you know, Southwest got rid of their free bag deal. Other airlines have dramatically increased their charges for checked bags. In fact, you could be spending more than $100 to check in 2 bags on any given flight. And in some markets, the fee that you pay to check your bags might actually exceed the cost of your ticket. Or something else comes into play, which makes no sense, which I'll share with you. We were in New Mexico last week, and Anthony Protis, one of our producers, was with me. He was flying back from Albuquerque to Los Angeles on United Airlines in coach, and he had 2 bags. The cost of checking those 2 bags would have been $100. On the night before the flight, he gets an email from United saying, would you like to upgrade to first class on your flight to Los Angeles? What were they going to charge him for that upgrade? $97. $3 less than the cost of checking the bags. And if he checked in first class, guess what? He didn't have to pay for bags. Now, did it make any sense? No. Is that what he did? Well, that's what he tried to do, but other people beat him to it because it was too good a deal. But what does that tell you about the way they price tickets and the way they price bags when the cost of your bags is more expensive than the ticket itself? Crazy, right? You're going to see a lot more of that as bag fees go up. Okay, speaking of bags, something else you can't make up. This coming to us from Japan, where Japan Airlines, they're testing a new system of loading bags. Show the photo. It's a robot. That's right. They got robots as bag loaders now. Now, the only photo we've seen is the robot approaching the container carrying the bags. We haven't seen the robot grab the bag yet. We haven't seen the robot throw the bag yet. And we haven't seen the robot lose the bag yet. So the jury's out, but just want to let you know, this is called innovation. And we'll see how well that works in Japan. I just had to share the photo with you, and now I have. All right. Now let's go and say hello to some folks. Let's do that right now. Hold on. All right. Linda's saying hi from Naples. Do I think airfares will drop for a trip to Paris in November? Right now, this itinerary on Turkish Air from Miami is about $932. I can't give you an answer that far in advance, but remember what I said. Price that out on a U.S. carrier as well with a stop. You'll have to stop with Turkish Air as well in Istanbul, but see what it comes out at. Hedge your bets. Book it now. If it goes down, you know the game to play. All right. Jim and Harriet coming in number 2 this week. I always misuse number 1 from Richmond, Virginia. Nice to see you guys. Teddy saying hi from sunny LA. Mary Louise, good morning from Paradise Valley, California. Excuse me, did I say California? I meant Arizona. Priya saying watching from still chilly Chicago. You know what they say about Chicago? They've got 2 seasons, winter and construction, but the weather is going to get better there because we're going to be shooting part of our Route 66 special in Chicago very soon. All right. Juan is saying, let's do this. Okay. Judy saying, can you recommend a centrally located hotel in Chicago for sightseeing? Could you be any more general? I have no idea what your budget is, how many days you're staying. And one thought about staying in a hotel in Chicago, if you're just going to be doing sightseeing, You have to answer this question. How much time are you actually going to be spending in your room other than sleeping and showering? The key is location, location, location. So get me more specific information, Judy. I'll be glad to give you some recommendations. Gene saying hello from Tulsa, also part of our Route 66 special. Melanie saying hi from Miami. Last week I was in Orlando at the annual MRO America show. Okay. And she said, I thought attendance might be down this year with everything going on, but surprisingly, over 19,000 people attended, a show record. Yeah, this is the year for domestic travel, and that's what we're seeing. International travel, jury's out, and may not come back for a while. All right, let's keep going here. Juan's back saying hi from Raleigh. And Priya says, given the possibility of cancellations, which airline route is my best possible one to book airfare to Athens for the last week of August, connect through a U.S. or a European city? Well, where are you flying from? Priya, is it Chicago? If it's Chicago and you want to go to Athens, you know what? You could do United with their code share with Lufthansa through Frankfurt or Munich. You could do, I'm trying to think who else might do it. Swiss is a good idea. Swiss through Zurich, again through Chicago, if you're going through Chicago. Or they'll be back. I guarantee you they'll be back. You could do Emirates or Qatar through Chicago, either through Dubai or Doha. Okay. Vanessa saying, hello from Illinois. I bought Aer Lingus flights for my husband and I traveling from Chicago to Dublin for this July. We are staying with friends. Do I need flight insurance? Well, that's an entire chapter, but let's begin. There's two different kinds of insurance we talk about. Flight interruption and cancellation insurance may be a good idea if you have a huge investment in your flight, or something that I highly recommend, a medical evacuation and repatriation coverage. Let's do the flight cancellation interruption coverage first. If you're going to buy the tickets, don't buy the insurance online. You don't have to buy it online. Go through a travel advisor or a travel agent. They can work through the hieroglyphics of the policy language to help you figure out not only what you're covered for, but what you're not covered for. That's what I'd suggest on that. Again, if you have a substantial investment in your travel. Second of all, medical evacuation and evacuation insurance and repatriation insurance. Yes, that you need. Everybody needs that. What it does in essence is if you get, and this is the best policies, if you get sick or injured overseas, they will pay to get you medically stabilized where you are. They will, and remember, this is the best policies. They will then consult your personal doctor who knows your medical history better than your own physician. And then based on your condition and their recommendations, they will then fly you on a medically equipped jet, either to the doctor or facility of your choice. Now, the reason why this is key is I told you this is the best language. Not every medical evacuation or repatriation insurance policy has that language. There are three that I like. One is called MedJet Assist. One is called Allianz, Allianz, or Travel Guard. Again, even having me said that doesn't mean you need to just do it. Check with someone who can read you the policy language so you know what you're covered for and you know what you're not. There are a number of exclusions that will be on every policy, whether it's age, pre-existing medical conditions, or destination exclusions based on where you want to go or where they think they can help you get out of. So there you go. Lorena's saying everyone here at Atlanta is excited about the new flight starting in May. Yep, I agree. All right, Oscar's saying the Japan airline that had an emergency evacuated all the crew and passengers due to the passengers actually followed the safety regulations. You're right. You know, this is going to sound stereotypical, but I have noticed this on Japan Airlines, on Korean Airlines, on Asiana, on EVA, on Thai, on China Air. Passengers actually listen to the rules. They actually listen to the instructions. What a concept. And guess what? When that Japan Airlines plane had to evacuate, they did it in record time. Nobody stuck around for their carry-on or their laptop. They just left the plane. You know what? They're alive because of it. Okay. Here we go. Tammy's saying hi from San Diego. Gina's saying hi from San Diego. Both of you saying hi from San Diego. So is Tina saying hi from San Diego. San Diego's doing well today. For the last 25 years, says Juan, airlines have been training monkeys as baggage handlers. You know, that reminds me of the old American Tourister commercial. Remember that with the gorillas throwing the bags? Well, We did a piece on CBS a couple of years ago that was so funny that they ended up airing it multiple times. You started the piece with me in a room, just like I'm in right now, where you don't know really where I am. There's nothing that identifies where I was. And all of a sudden, the other things in the room were about 12 different cardboard boxes of different sizes. You then saw me open the boxes. And inside each box was a different, well-known name brand piece of luggage. Samsonite, American Tourister, Toomey, Briggs & Riley, blah, blah, blah. You name it, we opened them. You still had no idea where I was. And as you see me open each bag, so I took them out of the box, then I opened each bag. What did I put in each bag? Cantaloupe, watermelon, bananas, coconuts, and oranges. Then I sealed each bag. And then there was a door at the end of the room. It was only when I opened the door you realized where I was. I was inside the elephant cage at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans, and it was feeding time. And we had 4 different camera crews shooting this. We were actually had a camera on the elephant. We had an elephant cam, and we had a timer. And one by one, we just put one bag in at a time and timed how long it would take the elephants to rip those bags apart and get in. And one of the funniest pieces we ever did. And we took our cue from the old American Tourister commercial. We're going to do that again this year. We're going to go do the luggage test again, probably at a different zoo, but get on. You can't beat that, right? All right. Randy's saying hi from Ann Arbor, flying to London in early June. Already have the tickets on Delta. Hope there are no new surprises. Well, guess what? There are always surprises, Randy, but you did the right thing for buying in advance. But then again, monitor those airfares. Colleen's saying, greetings from St. Malo, where we just finished an amazing off-road retro sidecar tour of the rugged Brittany coast. By the way, there are 2 things you got to love about Brittany. They've got the best oysters, and they've got the best butter. Hands down. With all due respect to my friends in Ireland who have great butter, Brittany, they got you beat a little bit. All right. And tomorrow she says I get to drive a motorcycle. Oh, my God. Good luck. By the way, don't forget that trip, medical evacuation or repatriation insurance. I hope you don't need it. Good luck on the motorcycle. Joy is saying, do I know if there are any yacht tours for adults only in Myrtle Beach for about 10 adults? Where would I look to find out? Well, believe it or not, you need to talk to a yacht broker, a boat broker in Myrtle Beach to see if they have any either bareboat charters, difficult to do on motorcraft, or if they can recommend a charter boat to take you out. Now, most charter boats, believe it or not, have a rule. They can only take out 6 adults because their captains are only licensed. They call it a 6-pack to take up to 6 passengers paying for hire. Once you get beyond 6 passengers, the cost gets relatively expensive because it's a much bigger boat. So just be aware of that. All right, there you go. And now I think it's time for, guess what? My favorite video. We always like to give you the retro videos. We mentioned Southwest getting rid of the free bags and now going to assigned seating. Lots of problems with that, getting used to that. But this goes back 44 years. This was the Southwest Airlines commercial back when Southwest was really Southwest back in 1982.
There's a certain Southwest spirit.
This is your basic one-of-a-kind airline.
No gimmicks, just your money's worth.
Southwest Airlines invented low fares.
That's true.
Why should flying be expensive?
It shouldn't.
There's a certain Southwest spirit.
If you don't enjoy your flight, we haven't done our job.
Nobody's got our spirit.
We're Southwest Airlines and we're proud of it.
You're going to love our Southwest spirit. Now are you ready to fly Southwest?
We're Southwest Airlines.
We're fast, we're fun, we're inexpensive.
Come on, let's go to Phoenix.
Yeah, let's go to Phoenix. Just be prepared to pay more. By the way, if you want to know how this is working out for Southwest, in terms of passenger goodwill and service, not too well. In terms of their bottom line, they just had one of the best quarters in history of all the revenue that they've earned from upselling the seats and charging for bags. So there's your trade-off. But I still long back. I long for the days of 1982 and Herb Kelleher, don't we all? All right, now let me move this on. I see what we're doing. Okay. I'm scrolling all the way down here. All right, finally, before we go, let's talk about the photo of the week. And you gotta love this photo. Look at the light. Anybody want to guess where that is? First of all, we give a hats off to Theodore Reyes. And she writes, while on a sailing south around the Seychelles Islands. We got to love the Seychelles. You know, when you come back from the Seychelles, people want to know what kind of filter you used in your camera. And you got to tell them there's no filter. It looks just like that. Even in the daytime, the colors are amazing. She said, I woke at 4 a.m. in the morning and took this photo of the moon. Oh, boy. I love it. Theodore, thank you for sending that photo. That's our photo of the week. And if you agree that you might have a photo that qualifies for the photo of the week, you know exactly what to do. Just email us to photocontest@petergreenberg.com. And if we agree, it goes right up there with Theodora's. A little housekeeping note. Our show this week, our radio show on Saturday, is coming from Denver. And very, very interesting stuff going on in Denver right now. I hope you'll join us. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. If you can't find it on your regular radio, we stream it live as well at about 10:05 a.m. Eastern as well on our website, petergreenberg.com. If you got more questions for me, you know what to do. Peter@petergreenberg.com. We'll answer it throughout the week and, of course, on the radio as well. And then I'm getting another flight. And this time, when we do Global Travel Update next week, if you want to know about safety in the world, where am I heading? I'm heading to the Middle East. And a very specific itinerary in the most surprising destination you might want to think about. Not just about where I'm going, but where I'm going through. How about that for a hint? About 8,000 miles from where I am right now. So have a great rest of the week, guys. I'll see you on the radio on Saturday. Don't forget, Travel Detective airing right now on PBS, as well as Amazon, Apple TV, and YouTube. Of course, our special on Hidden Hong Kong, Hidden Malta airing right now, also on those same platforms. And I'll see you next week with another Global Travel Update, literally from around the world. We'll see you next week. Anthony, thank you so much for handling all this stuff in Los Angeles today. We're here in Rio, getting ready to get on another plane, and I'll see you next week. Goes nothing. Meet Panya. This 45-year-old Asian elephant weighs 10,300 pounds. Why would we test elephants for this?
Well, elephants have two things going for them. They're incredibly strong and they're incredibly smart. They can smell things. If you try to hide it in something, they know it's there.
We put Panya on the clock, timing how long it takes her to get the fruit. Amazingly, she uses her trunk on the zipper of this $545 bag from Toomey. But no matter how hard she tries, she can't get a hold of it. So it's on to Plan B. Oh! After just 14 minutes, Panya is in and eating her homemade fruit salad. You think the lifetime warranty is going to kick in on this?
Oh, no.
This soft-sided Delsey bag sells for $218.
There you go, Panya.
It didn't last 8 minutes. Well, so much for the wheelie.
I would say that's catastrophic failure right there.
But this small $320 bag by Victorinox proved to be a bigger challenge.
A little smaller.
Oh, the double stop with a twist.
Yep. There aren't a whole lot of products out there that claim to be elephant-proof.
After about 15 minutes, Panya isn't ready to give up, but we are.
She partially got into it, but it held up better than the other one so far. Look at her. She's already ready to go.
Here we go. Elephants eat about 160 pounds of food a day, so there was no loss of appetite when we brought out our fourth bag. This hard-sided Samsonite retails for $240.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Oh, this did not take long. She's already in.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow.
Less than a minute, and Panya is already enjoying the fruits of her labor. All right. Our final bag was a classic soft-sided American Tourister. It costs $99. It took a beating for almost 20 minutes.
Drop it.
Just ripped that right off. As Panya stomped, thrashed, and mashed.
I would say that bag has been defeated.
More times than one. Took her a while, though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the Victorinox was the clear winner.
followed by American Tourister, the Toomey, the Delsey, and the Samsonite.
Now, to be fair, we know that most luggage won't ever be exposed to the brutal conditions these bags endured with Panya the elephant. Now, we're not making any official claims about durability, but it was interesting to see which bags held up longer than the others. Now, we also want to make sure our viewers know that no elephants or other animals at the Audubon Zoo were injured during this experiment. The luggage, of course, that's another story. And we want to thank Sarah Burnett, Allison Randell, and Joey Ratliff at the zoo for all of their help. And Chris, now you know why I never check a bag.
Yeah, baggage claim, I don't want to claim any of these. We also, this other disclaimer, Panya also, the elephant, loves checked baggage. So we didn't tell people that before.
That's right.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Peter, thanks so much.
You got it,
Great
Chris.
stuff.